Imagine a world sculpted by ice and fire. The wind howls across endless plains where herds of colossal beasts roam beneath a pale, restless sky. Towering mammoths move like living fortresses, their tusks gleaming as they carve paths through frozen grasslands. Nearby, saber-toothed cats prowl in silence, their golden eyes reflecting the glow of a distant horizon. The air carries the scent of cold earth and ancient storms, a reminder that this is not yet the planet we know. This is Earth, 1.5 million years ago, a place of extremes, raw beauty, and silent danger. But somewhere in this vast, untamed wilderness, something extraordinary is happening. Small bands of Homo erectus, our distant ancestors, gather around flickering fires. Their shadows dance upon cave walls as they watch, listen, and learn. For the first time in the story of life, a creature looks at another and seeks to be understood. There are no words yet, only instinct, sound, and gesture. But within those crude attempts lies the seed of everything that would follow: language, culture, civilization. Picture this world. Africa's savannas stretch endlessly, dotted with acacia trees and shimmering heat. In Eurasia, glaciers creep across the northern lands, sculpting valleys that will one day cradle future empires. The Earth is alive with movement, tectonic, climatic, and evolutionary. And among it all, the first humans adapt, hunt, and survive with tools of stone and fire. Each discovery changes them, reshaping their minds, their bodies, and their destiny. What drove them to rise from mere survival to curiosity? How did the chill of night or the cry of a predator push them toward the need to share meaning? The answers lie hidden in the echoes of this ancient world, a world that forged both our fragility and our brilliance. Before we uncover how they first learned to communicate, take a moment to leave your mark here. Like the early humans carving their story into stone. Drop a like and share your thoughts. How do you imagine life 1.5 million years ago? Now let's step closer to the people who lived it, and to the first spark of human expression that would change everything. The sun rises over an African plain, golden light spilling over the savanna. Dust rises beneath the steady steps of a group of early humans. They are Homo erectus, tall, lean, and purposeful. Their eyes scan the horizon, not with fear, but calculation. They are no longer just reacting to the world, they are beginning to shape it. They stand differently from their ancestors, upright, balanced, efficient. Their bodies are built for endurance, for long-distance travel and persistence hunting. When prey bolts into the distance, Homo erectus does not give up. It follows. Step after step, hour after hour, until exhaustion becomes the hunter's greatest weapon. This was not brute survival, it was strategy, awareness, and cooperation. Their world is both vast and unforgiving. To the north, volcanic ridges mark the restless edge of tectonic plates. To the south, grasslands shimmer under waves of heat. Giant herbivores graze in slow migration, elephants, buffalo, and antelope, while predators shadow them in silence. It's a living theater of survival, where every movement, every sound, has meaning. And within this arena, Homo erectus begins to find its voice. They gather at the edge of rivers, where water shapes stone into tools. With sharp flakes and crude hand axes, they carve out new possibilities. Each spark of ingenuity is passed on through imitation. A glance, a gesture, a sound. It's not yet language, but it's the beginning of something more, the recognition that one mind can influence another. Fire flickers at dusk. Its light binds the group together, turning night into a space for connection. Mothers cradle their young, hunters share food and glances of understanding. Around the flames, ideas are born, not as words but as shared emotions. safety, hunger, curiosity. The dawn of communication begins here, in the rhythm of survival and the silence between heartbeats. Soon, they will do something no creature had ever done before. They will try to speak meaning into existence. Imagine standing in the midst of a vast savanna, where danger lurks behind every tree and the hunt demands precision. For Homo erectus, survival was never solitary. Coordination became crucial. A distracted glance or a misjudged step could mean life or death. It is here, in these tense, high-stakes moments, that the earliest sparks of communication emerge. Communication began not with words, but with necessity. A subtle hand gesture could redirect a hunt. A bark-like call could warn of a prowling predator. Even a shift in posture conveyed intent or caution. Every movement carried meaning. Every sound was a potential signal. In the crucible of survival, these signals became invaluable, creating a primitive network of understanding within the group. Consider the social structure of early humans, small, tightly knit bands dependent on cooperation. Hunting together demanded synchronization. Gathering resources required shared knowledge. When a Homo erectus spotted fruit high in a tree or water in a hidden stream, conveying that information efficiently meant the difference between sustenance and scarcity. In this way, communication was not a luxury, it was a lifeline. But it was more than survival. These early signals fostered trust and cooperation, building the foundations of a collective mind. Over time, repeated gestures and vocalizations formed recognizable patterns, the first proto-signs of language. Each act of shared understanding strengthened the group, reinforcing the bond between individuals who had to rely on each other against the unpredictability of their environment. The need to communicate also stimulated cognitive growth. The brain had to process signals, anticipate reactions, and encode meaning. With every gesture, grunt, or call, Homo erectus was exercising the neural circuits that would one day support complex language. Necessity shaped innovation, and innovation, in turn, began the long journey from instinctual signals to deliberate speech. And so, the stage is set for the first deliberate attempts to transmit ideas. The sounds of the wild, the gestures of survival, and the flickering shadows of firelight were converging, guiding early humans toward one of their most profound inventions, communication itself. In the dim glow of a campfire, early humans experiment with sound. Low grunts ripple through the air, rising and falling in rhythm. Hands clap against thighs, stones rattle, and voices echo with an emerging pattern. These are the first attempts at signaling intention, warning, and curiosity. Each sound carries meaning, even if the full language has yet to be born. Gestures accompany the noises. A pointing finger directs attention, a raised arm signals halt, a bow of the head conveys submission. These primitive signals form a silent conversation, understandable only within the shared experience of the group. Over time, repeated use cements their meaning, transforming instinctual noises into deliberate communication. Researchers studying ancient sites have found wear patterns on bones and marks on stones suggesting coordinated activity. These traces hint that early humans were not just surviving, they were beginning to orchestrate their lives with shared understanding. The interplay of sound and movement creates the first scaffolding of language, a system built on necessity, experimentation, and the human instinct to connect. Imagine a young hunter mimicking the alarm call of a nearby predator, learning not only to imitate but to teach others. Every grunt, every gesture is a lesson in community, survival, and cognition. This is the first language of humanity, simple, functional, and alive with purpose. Take a moment to reflect. How do you think these first sounds shaped human relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments, imagining the birth of human communication as if you were there around the fire, listening, learning, and signaling with your fellow early humans. Across the savanna, a herd of antelope grazes unaware of the silent watchers. Homo erectus moves in coordinated steps, eyes flicking, hands signaling. Hunting is not an individual endeavor. It is a choreography of minds, an unspoken agreement between hunters. Survival demands that each action complements another, and that coordination depends on understanding signals, both subtle and overt. The hunt teaches more than endurance. It teaches communication. A grunt may signal direction, a hand gesture may indicate strategy, and the alignment of bodies becomes a language of movement. Cooperation is essential. A missed cue can mean failure, injury, or death. Over countless hunts, these early humans refine their system of communication, building trust and synchrony that will echo through generations. But hunting is only one dimension of cooperation. Gathering fruits, sharing water, and protecting young all require an understanding of group dynamics and shared intent. Here, communication is not merely functional, it becomes social glue, the foundation of community. Every successful hunt reinforces the value of cooperation. Every mistake underscores the importance of clear signaling. In these moments, the brain is exercised in new ways, anticipating a partner's action, responding to an unexpected shift, and encoding these experiences into memory forms the neurological architecture for future language. Cooperation and hunting are more than survival strategies. They are the proving ground for human communication. The early humans who mastered this balance between action and signal were shaping the very essence of what it means to be human. The ability to work together toward a shared purpose, guided by intention, awareness, and the first whispers of understanding. Night falls over the savanna, and the first flames flicker against the darkness. Fire is more than warmth. It is a gathering point, a mirror reflecting human presence and curiosity. Around its glow, early humans share food, observe each other, and exchange glances laden with meaning. It is here, in the intimacy of firelight, that the seeds of language are nurtured. The flickering light transforms the night from a realm of danger into a space for interaction. Groups huddle close, teaching the young to recognize threats, pass on, techniques for tool-making, and coordinate activities for the coming day. Every gesture, every grunt, every shared glance around the fire is a rehearsal for speech. The fire illuminates not just the physical world, but the cognitive one, the beginnings of intentional communication. Fire also allows for extended social time. By pushing back the night, it gives early humans the opportunity to observe, imitate, and experiment with sounds and gestures. What may have started as instinctive calls now evolve into patterned vocalizations, with each member learning to recognize and respond. Social bonds are strengthened, hierarchies subtly reinforced, and cooperation is tested and refined. In these moments, imagination and reflection enter the picture. The mind begins to anticipate actions, predict responses, and form shared understanding. The essential components of language. Firelight becomes the first classroom, where observation and repetition cultivate skills that will one day allow humans to convey abstract thought. The stage is set. From the crackle of fire to the gestures in its glow, early humans inch closer to their first words, setting the path for the intricate language that will define our species. Across the scattered remains of ancient settlements, fragments of bones, stones, and charred hearths speak silently of the past. Archaeologists have pieced together these remnants to reveal patterns of behavior, cooperation, and early communication. Marks on tools hint at teaching, while spatial arrangements of fire pits suggest gatherings centered on shared experiences and exchange. Each discovery is a window into the minds of Homo erectus, offering clues about the first human signals. Experimental archaeology adds depth to these findings. Researchers recreate hunting scenarios, tool-making sessions, and social interactions to observe how early humans might have coordinated without words. Grunts, hand gestures, and simple vocalizations emerge as effective methods to convey intent. The studies demonstrate that survival required communication, reinforcing the theory that language is rooted in necessity and cooperation. Even subtle clues, scratches on bones, repeated patterns in tool wear, suggest standardized methods of teaching and learning. These small, deliberate acts imply that early humans were not merely acting instinctively, they were transmitting knowledge. It's the convergence of physical evidence and experimental replication that paints a picture of a community in the midst of discovering its own voice. Think about it. These silent stones and bones carry echoes of the first conversations. How do you imagine early humans sounded as they shared knowledge, warned of danger, or celebrated a successful hunt? Share your vision in the comments and join the journey of uncovering the first human signals. Inside the skull of Homo erectus, the brain is undergoing remarkable changes. Larger than that of earlier hominins, it is expanding in regions critical for planning, memory, and social cognition. These anatomical shifts provide the neural foundation for more complex communication, allowing early humans to process signals, recognize patterns, and anticipate the actions of others. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and foresight, grows in sophistication. It enables problem-solving and cooperation that extends beyond instinct, transforming simple gestures and sounds into meaningful interactions. The auditory cortex sharpens, attuning individuals to subtle variations in calls and vocalizations. Even slight changes in the tongue and throat anatomy improve the ability to produce varied sounds, laying the groundwork for future speech. Neurological development is mirrored in behavior. Early humans experiment with calls and gestures, observe responses, and adjust accordingly. This feedback loop strengthens both social cohesion and survival strategies. The mind becomes a laboratory where every interaction is a test of comprehension, memory, and adaptability. The transformation of the brain is not just about survival, it is the dawn of imagination, reflection, and intentional communication. The neural wiring that forms during this era will, millions of years later, support language, storytelling, and culture. Each flicker of insight, each learned signal, represents a step toward the complex human mind we recognize today. The evolutionary story of communication is now inseparable from the evolution of the brain itself, guiding early humans toward an era where ideas can be shared, understood, and preserved. Across caves and open plains, traces of early human creativity begin to emerge. Stones are shaped not merely for survival, but with intention. Pigments are applied in patterns that suggest symbolic thought. These first signs of culture reveal a growing capacity to transmit ideas and values beyond immediate needs. Homo erectus is no longer only reacting to the world, it is interpreting, experimenting, and leaving marks for others to understand. Artifacts tell stories of teaching, imitation, and shared experience. Tools with consistent shapes indicate repeated lessons, passed from one individual to another. Cave walls may carry scratches or patterns that hint at observation, communication, or even ritual. Every mark is a precursor to the complex culture that will define humanity. Cultural expression emerges hand in hand with communication. The ability to coordinate gestures, calls, and glances allows information to persist across time and space. Early humans are beginning to store knowledge externally, in stone, in the environment, in collective memory. Through these actions, they create a bridge between thought and expression, experience and instruction. Imagine a group around a fire, teaching the young how to craft tools or remember landmarks. Each act, each signal, each imitation reinforces the social fabric. Culture and communication develop together, shaping human cognition and society in ways that will echo for millennia. The first sparks of culture are modest, yet profound. They are the earliest hints that humans do not merely survive, they record, share, and transmit meaning. As days turn to years and generations pass, the simple signals and gestures of early humans evolve. The grunts, clicks, and hand movements that once served immediate survival begin to carry more nuanced meaning. Patterns emerge. Repetition creates familiarity. Shared. Understanding grows. This is the genesis of language, not yet the rich, complex system we speak today, but a bridge from instinct to intention. Early humans begin to combine sounds with gestures, reinforcing messages and ensuring clarity. A pointed finger paired with a vocal call might signal danger or opportunity. A series of grunts could guide a hunt or instruct the young. Over time, these combinations gain consistency and complexity. Meaning becomes negotiable, flexible, and transferable. The first vocabulary of human experience. Language allows thoughts to extend beyond the immediate. Plans can be formed, ideas debated, knowledge preserved. The social fabric is transformed. Communities become capable of foresight, cooperation deepens, and culture flourishes. Each utterance carries not just survival value, but identity, memory, and connection. Standing at this threshold, we can see the lineage of human expression stretching back 1.5 million years. From a flicker of firelight, a gesture, or a cautious grunt, the seeds of communication blossom into the full spectrum of language. The journey from instinct to intentional speech marks one of the most profound evolutionary steps, giving humans the ability to shape not just their environment, but each other's minds. Now take a moment to reflect on this remarkable story. Every word you speak, every conversation you share, traces back to these first signals. From the earliest gestures to the languages we know today, human communication is a bridge across time, linking us to ancestors who spoke with intention for the very first time.